afternoon, Dobber. Good afternoon, brothers. Hope you guys are well. Dobber, first of all, just on captaincy, it's nice to have Runners back as captain. We're a bit surprised though when we saw the team sheet. Just in terms of the captaincy, I know obviously some man's back, it's still get captain. You've got other players near us as well on the bench, but what is the decision around being Deon? Obviously hasn't played since the La Rochelle game.
Yeah, he hasn't. But we started this preparation for this game 2 weeks ago. We took the Saman used the Harlequins games as his sort of return game. So we stayed in prep with this team. Runners led that group. Saman wasn't going to start this game because of Ruben, and we announced him on the bench. But then, our policy is if Mike had told me, I forgot. So we then put Saman in to start for his 50th thing, and we'd already appointed Brunner's captain in this game because Moon was going to be on the bench with Neertling. So that's the reasoning. Also, and there's another element to it. I mean, I think the last game he captained was pretty important game, the World Cup final. Yeah. So I just felt, with Moon coming back from long-term injury and Brunner's been preparing with us, this group was a pretty easy one. Yeah.
Yeah, just actually, Brunner's on that. I was in leave and also how's the rehab been and the process coming back? I know it's quite a long journey for you, but how are you feeling?
Yeah, it was a long journey. I think lots of ups and downs. I think I've never been so long out of the game. I think my longest was 3 months normally, and this was the first time being out for 8 months. So yeah, it's a roller coaster of emotions and rehab and pain and all that stuff. But yeah, thanks to all the medical staff that pushed me through, and yeah, so happy to be back. It's never easy watching from the side, and all the emotions are there. But yeah, the knee feels great. Hopefully it can hold up tomorrow.
Dobber, just in terms of your selections, you have all your Springboks back. You've got France, you've got Sasha playing at 12. You just run us those changes and why in particular those.
I think it's not all of them back. There's Kitsy and Evan and Damien and that, but it's a lot back, and it's a great step. No, the logic was, probably our top 12s are Dan and Damien, and they're both injured. So I think Jal did a reasonably good job there the last 2 weeks. But to let's say we'd stuck with JL, and then one of Sasha or Mani, and then one of them would have gone to the bench, and they're both Springboks and really good players. So that was the logic. Was given the injuries to Dan, I think if Dan or Damien had been fit, it would be the question we've been asking the whole season. If I said to you, I said, we don't want to hope for injuries because I don't have to make these decisions. I think that those two together is a hell of exciting. I mean, that's a reason to come watch the game by itself. If those two click, it's going to be something special. So that was pretty easy. France back, Netters has been exceptional. He's just like the most aggressive. He's just fantastic tight head. But he's pretty much started everyone except Glasgow when France did. And I think France, he may not be a champion of getting himself to match fitness without playing. So it's best to put him on the field and then see how he goes, knowing that we've got this amazing impact of Neertling. Yeah, so that was pretty much. Was anything else I'm missing?
BJ.
BJ's our top 7, and Mani played. So I'm discounting the Harlequins game, which was a bit different.
Just my final question, Dobber. This next 3 games, how critical is it for you in terms of your season? Why also critical? Because it's 2 competitions. You got 2 URC local South African derbies that are always extra spicy, and then you have the Sale game as well, which is if you win that game and you get a bonus point, you still have a chance of playing racing better and better. So just if you could touch on how important it is for you in this next 3 games, it's must wins if I could put it that way.
Spot on, must wins. We get these 2. We've been in a much healthier position than URC. That's like we make a joke. It's our second best URC start, but that's not a good stat. That's not a stat to be proud of. No, it's critical. And you're right about Europe. We're not a team that wants to look. We knew Harlequins would be tough. I thought in 72 minutes, I still thought we could beat Toulon, and then we gave away a yellow card. But having lost a home game, you've got to win away game, but you've got to win the other home game, as you suggest. To stay in Europe, the 2 wins can keep us alive. So the next 3, you're spot on, are just absolutely critical. Yeah.
And so my side, good luck, runners, and
Thanks.
all the best for the summer season.
Thanks for
We
being-
are on holiday now, so it's
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Mabini.
Thanks.
Okay, on Zoom we got Jan. Go for it, Jan.
Thanks, Michael. John, yeah, just a follow-up in terms of the 10-12 scenario. I mean, it's a old thing where if you want to play a nice, expensive game, and you got two playmakers, guys who can direct you, especially in the 12 channel, where it's almost like your second fly-off. How important is this in terms of the type of game you guys want to play?
Yeah, that was a factor as well, Jan, because Sasha's is a prolific kicker. He's got real distance, and so if you've got some teams go with a 10-12 axis, which something like New Zealand used to do. The Springboks obviously largely a 10-15 one, with Billy LaRue and whoever, Henry Pollard had played in that, like I talked about a few years ago. We've got three, with Warwick. So that was quite an important thing for us. And we thought if we want to drive this game, if we want to get territory, which I think is very important for this game against the Lions, I think, if you've watched our game, well, not if you, I'm sure you've watched our games the last while. Our teams have been actually scoring off our errors, and that's because we're probably making mistakes in the wrong parts of the field and that sort of stuff. So having a 12 who's also a general with a really ability to kick with both feet properly, it's a big part of our plan for tomorrow.
Yeah. Deon, just from you spoke about the lengthy and all that stuff, but and I watched the training the other day as well, and contact in training and contact in a real game is two different things. Is that a factor for you?
I must be honest, I told the guys, it feels like my first cap again on Saturday. I'm not usually a guy that stresses before games, and I always chilled, and as soon as I woke up on Monday, and I started getting the jitters because it's been so long that I haven't played. Hopefully I'll see how it goes tomorrow. I think hopefully it's like riding a bike, but I think definitely there will be some errors. Sorry, Dobbo, in advance, but I think it's just getting back in there. I think if the adrenaline starts pumping, I think hopefully it will go well. And like you said, the contact's not the same, but I've been around the block for a few years, so hopefully that can help.
Yeah, it's a pretty big blocker you were around.
Old block.
I want to ask you about the captaincy. I mean, obviously, it seems like something that comes quite naturally with you. Do you think that helps you preparing for a game emotionally, mentally, having the captaincy?
Yeah, I think my thing was always to lead by example every time I captain or when I play. So for me to when Dobbo told me on Monday, I told him thanks for this great honor coming back after 8 months and you captain the side for your first game back. So that gives you a lot of confidence from the coaching staff side. So for me it's always just to do show the guys through the way I play. I don't think the lungs will keep up for 80 minutes, but hopefully I can make a big impact in the minutes I play on tomorrow.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Cool, thanks, Jan. Leedson has got his hand up. Yes, Leedson.
Thanks, Mikey. Hi, Dobbo. Hi, Deon. Hope you guys are good. Dobbo, have you told Warwick to keep his head out of the breakdowns for Saturday? Because Brandes is back?
Actually, because before you said the last thing, because Brandes is back, I was about to say, no, I haven't, because he's got our most steals, which is quite quite tragic reflection on the team. Your 15s, listen, his bravery is incredible. They tend to be different breakdowns to the ones that a guy like Deon would be involved in. But I've got respect for the way Warwick can stand a poach. It's not nice because guys, when his ones are wider breakdowns, guys are running at you from distance to try and give you. No, but I mean, no, I haven't told him. That's a probably different area to what Deon is. And to be honest, we've lacked it the whole season. We've tried various sort of patch jobs, whether that's Marcel, who's actually not a natural stealer. I think we're trying to transition Keke. Be careful the word transition. I don't talk about gender. Transition him to a 6. But that's obviously off the table now. So it's not. We've actually missed it quite a lot. And what the difference is, sometimes there's critical penalties under your poles, which Deon was very good at. He's very good at. Or the other thing is you instead of defending 15 phases, you're defending 5 or 6. The other element, of course, is that them having to send more cleaners into the breakdown, the ball gets slower. So it's something we've missed. That's massive. And that's what we've actually brought. Paul de Villiers to an exceptional under 21 season. I thought he was very good in that little spell against Harlequins. He got a steal and didn't look out of his depth against a full strength Harlequins. And as Deon says now, maybe 80 minutes is ambitious tomorrow. So if we can get back to having a traditional stealer, that position at 6, the guy can slow the ball down, get an opposition face, it's good for us. So, but Warwick will still be like, look, I can tell Warwick, I can tell, Warwick's going to decide what Warwick's going to do.
Yeah.
So,
Never know what you're going to get.
never know what you're going to get.
Dobbo, and you guys have gotten what 5 Springboks back. The Lions are absent 4 of their best players, 2 up front and 2 at the back. Do you feel that could make them a more dangerous team, knowing that they're not at full strength, but they can still come here and throw the kitchen sink at you guys?
Yeah, they got two. I might be wrong. At least 2 new Springboks this year in Krappies and Edwell. What I give Lions the credit for, we know Bulls and Sharks and their powers and the budgets and that sort of thing. But what you got to give Lions enormous credit for, they're probably not even at our level, and their sums exceed in the parts, and I think that's always it's the most important thing of my feeling of coaching or of running a team, is that the sum of your performance exceeds the parts that you've got, and I think give them enormous credit. And they're a gritty team, they go to Leinster away and they fight, and so I think credit to what they've done. It's not an easy environment for them in some respects, so. Yeah, I don't know if the absence of the big players, we've had that experience, hasn't always helped. Because sometimes those big players in big moments are important. We missed Deon terribly, we missed Evan Roos terribly, we missed Damien Willemse terribly, and that's just the truth, and probably affected some of our performance. But I do have respect for the Lions and the way they fight and how gritty they are, and I've got no doubt they'll bring that tomorrow.
And then Deon, just apologies, just for you, Dobbo sort of gave us certain dates that you set yourself a month ago or so that you want to be ready by, maybe the Sharks game or the first Champions Cup game. Was that always your target to be back earlier? But was there something that just told you maybe yes, I'm reaching the end of my career, maybe I should walk the full journey to recovery and then be able to go on for the rest of the season?
No, I said it. It was a target, that Sharks game. That's the frustrating thing of a knee injury, of rehab, is that you've got these targets, and then 1 week it's a great week, you run nicely, and the next week your hamstring is stiff or something is in pain, and then so that's a whole process of going through rehab, is the mental side of it. I must be honest, I was sometimes in dumps during the rehabs because I felt, like you said, maybe I am too old, maybe I must hang up my boots. Told my wife one time in the kitchen, maybe I'm just call it, and I sleep on the couch that night. So, but you always have a target, and the Sharks game was it. But I feel great now, and to be back. I don't think I don't feel that old at the moment. Maybe we'll speak tomorrow night at 6. I'll have a different story.
and then just Dobbo, if you can maybe chip in as well, but Deon, from you as well, being the captain, we know Dan had sort of a tough time always running in from the back, coming to speak to the ref and all of that.
Yeah.
You happy to be back and getting that job again? And then Dobbo, now you have a possible good cop in Moon and a bad cop in Deon on the field.
That's it.
I always like to speak nicely to the refs during games and give my opinion of what I saw. But I'll always like to be in control, talking to the ref and stuff. So I always loved to being captain of this team.
Cool. Good.
That's all for me. Thanks.
Thanks, Jason.
Okay, thanks. Gavin Rich. It's not quite
How's it, guys?
Yeah.
Dobbo, just the guy sitting next to you has missed almost a year, so maybe that means that he probably has an extra year you can sort of add on to his contract. But the point I wanted to actually, I mean, so he might be around a bit longer. I mean, some of these things sometimes work like that. But how sort of timely is it in a way that Paul de Villiers sort of makes his entry at a time when Deon's playing again and can actually sort of help him and whilst, you know, because obviously you've got to look at a future after Deon at some stage. I mean, he can't play forever, even if he does have an extra year added on. What happened? I mean, would you say that that's a sort of quite a significant sort of positive coincidence in a way that he's back at the same time?
You know, I probably been remiss in not giving Paul an opportunity earlier. I just feel like, you know, the thing with the Steelers, if they could put, and it's part of our defense system, if they put their heads in, they've got to stay in. You know, we call it Bolomakisi. You know, if you put your head in and then the cleaner hits you and you Bolomakisi out the back, it actually stuffs up our fold. It, you know, we've wasted a number at the breakdown. And, you know, I think with Paul, it's sometimes Deon knows far more about it than me. That just comes with a bit more physicality, a bit more confidence in your body, a bit more technique and a bit more experience. And you know, I could have probably put Paul in, but I've just seen over the last few months of the under-21 competition, the friendlies we've played, and certainly last week, that this is a guy who can really stay in the poach. So it's actually a great pathway for us. The plan was to move Keke across. We just started that. I think he would. He was at 6 in that Toulon game, and then he breaks his leg.
He was, yeah.
Horrendous injury. So the plan was that Keke would have done that sort of below Deon role when Deon got back. But now that's probably accelerated Paul into that. And listen, Paul is uncannily like Deon, and look, he's got a long way to learn in terms of game management and making the right decision on which breakdown to attack, which is stuff Deon's excellent at. But he's really is a really good classic 6. It's probably worked out well.
Okay, and then the other thing is just looking at the lines. Do you think? I mean, it might sound like an odd question, but I think you know where I'm coming from. Do you think it might be helpful and the Sharks were a very bad example of this last year, so they completely disproved my theory, but I'm going to go with it anyway. Do you think it's helpful if you're in a sort of tight battle in the URC to sort of make, and the Lions are talking about making the top 4, they certainly like a lot more ambitious in the URC than they used to be. Do you think it's helpful for a team to possibly be in the Challenge Cup rather than the Champions Cup? I know 2 weeks ago they sent an understrength team overseas and nobody cared. There wasn't the sort of fuss there is when you guys go understrength.
Listen, but I'd agree with your theory, Gav, because you know, in the first year of URC, we didn't play in the then Heineken Cup, and it was an all South African final. I don't think that's coincidental, you know. We would be much stronger if we weren't playing. You know, it happened. It affected us in the second year. I mean, remember I've quoted that story enough that we played Exeter in a European quarterfinal, which is I think a great achievement in year 1 of your Heineken Cup. It was still the Heineken Cup then. Our first entry into that, and we came back to Cape Town, and Munster were already in Cape Town, and they ended our 21 game unbeaten run. You know, so I think there is a look, you want to be ambitious there, but there is an advantage to that. I think what we have to be careful of, and this is probably unrelated to your question, is trying to get in the top 8 to qualify for the next Champions Cup, and then not take the Champions Cup seriously, and then try and finish top 8 to qualify for Champions Cup, but you're never trying to win. So you know, our goal here now is to get the top 8 so we can win URC. That's our objective. You know, we want to get to the stage where we can compete properly in the Champions Cup, and I think we weren't far off in Toulon. Harlequin. This December fixture is always a very tricky one. I think for all the clubs. You know, one-off trip to Europe, and that's the thing. The easier ones are in January. You know, a home game, and then we actually go on a 2-week tour of Leinster, and just 2 easy games, Leinster and Racing 92. So that you go full noise at. But the short answer is yes. Yeah, it is. It would be different because people don't. You're right. You know, there were a million podcasts and reflections on the values of South African teams in the Champions Cup, and that wasn't based on the Lions team that played Ospreys. It was based on our performance against Harlequins, the Bulls not winning a game, the Sharks' performance against Leicester. But I think the fact that the first year, I think even one of the Leinster guys reflected, you know, we had buys while they were taking on Toulouse, you know, and that was a factor.
Okay, and then just sort of allied to that in a way, is that in normal circumstances, I would ask you the question about the fact that the Lions have Christmas off, just like the Bulls have Christmas off, whether that gives them an advantage because they can sort of throw the kitchen sink at this game, knowing that they have to wait until mid-January before they play again. But counterbalancing that, and this is what I'm asking you, I mean, Deon's just told us he feels like a kid again. He's playing his first cap. The fact that you've got so many guys coming back in who haven't played a while, that probably are looking forward to having a sort of a run of extended games now. They're probably really looking forward to playing the Sharks next week, and then going into that sort of fairly tough January you're talking about. Do you think that does come? Look, I know there's always a possibility when you bring new players in that there's going to be that adjustment period and maybe a little bit of rust in the synchronization of the team, even though they've trained together so much in the last 2 weeks. But do you think that the fact that you've got, it's almost like quite timely for you in a way that you've got all these guys coming back at the beginning of your sort of most critical period?
Yeah, I think what we've enjoyed this new tradition of local derbies. I think when they first came, I thought very strange. Everybody wanted to be at Stillby or Amanus or but that's changed. I think we'll certainly be throwing the kitchen sink tomorrow. We're in hurt locker at the moment, so there won't be any lack of us trying to throw the kitchen sink. We're looking forward to these 2 games. We want to restore our pride, and if we get 8 or 10 points over the next 2 weeks, start climbing up the log like we've done every year, and we'll feel good about ourselves. So we're utterly desperate, and they might be, but I don't think we're looking at these 2 games as our season-defining games, and I think I give credit to the players. They're not complaining about the time of year or Christmas or anything like that. They want the Stormers to get back to where we belong.
I guess what I'm asking is, do the guys bring in like the new energy that you just need at this particular stage?
Well, a guy like,
I know you had a month off whilst the Boks were overseas, so it's not like you've been playing too many weeks in a row, but there must be that sort of renewal, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely. Look, I don't think France is the human dynamo. I managed to announce the team while he was out. He hadn't got to the meeting yet, so that's how I got him in. He didn't know about it, but no, look, he's great because he brings his manner. But guys like Deon and Sasha and their enthusiasm and BJ, it's significant for us, And these are true blue, out and out, 100% committed mile-an-hour Stormers. So, and we did do a slight trick last week in keeping the fit guys. We didn't have many left fit, back, so they'd be hungry for this week. And we had a hell of a nice week's training last week in Cape Town. I only went out on the Thursday afternoon to Harlequins. I can't be held accountable. I'm joking, but no, we're enthused and fresh, and these guys do bring energy. I mean, just it's not being. Just the players have seen Deon Fourie in a number 6 jersey leading them out of the tunnel will just lift the whole team. I've got absolutely no doubt whatsoever about that. It's be good.
Okay, thanks, guys. Good luck. Good luck.
Happy hour starts in 4 minutes.
It's still a way away. Oh, that's why I'm on today.
Guys, we've got Josh, then Leeton again, and then Rubin, and that's it. Okay.
How's it, guys? Just a question for you, Deon. Firstly, welcome back. It's good to see you back in the mix, and we're looking forward to seeing you out in the field. Deon, just a question around your mindset. Like, you seem to be an anomaly in rugby, in professional sports. Like, you, just the age you got your Springbok debut, and now this injury, and now you're back. And I can imagine there's so many guys in the country playing for local clubs like Durban or Millies that are 33, 34 thinking, maybe I can still make it. But I'm interested to know, like, what is it about your mindset? And when you're in these tough situations, like 16 years, not getting the Springbok nod, and then this injury that keeps you always coming out on top. Like, what do you do differently?
No, it's a good question. Still have to get that answer, but I think most of the time it's just to prove my critics wrong. I think that's had a few of them throughout my career. That always drove me to play better and to prove them wrong. I think that's still what pushed me now through this rehab, is that everyone said, that's me at the end of my career with a knee injury. So for me, was it just to get back and to show that I can still play. And still contribute to this team and to this brand. For me, that's basically the thing that drives me at the moment, is to prove critics wrong.
Cool, thanks, Deon. And then
Thanks,
just
Deon.
Thank you.
Leeton.
sorry,
Thanks,
guys.
Mikey. Sorry, you still on? Go for it.
Question.
Yeah. One more question for Dobbo. Sorry, guys. Dobbo, just a question for you as well. Just kind of outside the 80 minutes of play. When things are tough and the team's not doing as well as you'd like, how do you, as a coach, always make sure you're on top of your game outside of practice? Making sure you lead in the pack when it comes to tactical coaching and innovation.
Feels like a podcast.
It's a good question. When you're losing or we lost 4 games in a row now, you start questioning yourself. You crap and you find problems everywhere. It's not easy. I'm not saying I don't think you handle it particularly well, because you start scratching and doubting, and if the team see that the coaches are doubting and that sort of thing, then it's and those losing dressing rooms are tough. You don't sing your song, you don't have a beer, and the guys go home and they start questioning things. So how to do it, I'm not sure. It's just to try and be positive. No, I know unquestionably what we've got in this room at the Stormers, and I know those performances, Glasgow, 40. We had Marnie was the only guy on tour. 14 of those Scotsmen played 2 weeks later against the Springboks and took them deep. We had a similar experience to Toulon, similar experience with Sharks. So our team's got fights, and I believe in this team. I know it'll turn, but what I do is just try and look at myself and try and think how I can be better, because there are lots of rooms for improvement. There's no coach who can put the pen down at the end of the day, thinks I've done everything, I've connected with every player, I've got every plan. If I've connected with every player, then I probably haven't had time to watch the opposition. And so, it's not much of an answer, Josh, but it's a tricky space to be in.
No, also thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, sorry, it wasn't much of an answer.
Just on Mani, Dobbo, I've heard for the first time this week about the sway test, which is that the return to play test that the guys who picked up concussions have to do, and did Mani have to do one? Because I know
what's the name of the test?
The sway test.
I know you have to, protocol is have to be 12 days out. So you get a HIA 1, 2, and 3. And then after your 12 days, you have to do the HIA 3 again. And then when you pass that, then you start your intro to running. And then him and BJ ran on their own next to the field.
Okay.
Yeah. So, there's protocols in place from medical side and World Rugby how to deal with those concussions.
Okay. Yeah, because yesterday we heard that Eben failed his after his 12 days. So I was just interested to hear exactly what that is. Thanks, Deon.
Okay, we're being to end, guys.
Yes, just in terms of the scrums, you guys have obviously not got the reward. Have you guys spoken to Tapa? I know I asked in a couple of weeks. Have you had a conversation with Tapa? Because tomorrow is Christopher Ellison, South African referee, different. That's not Northern Hemisphere or international. So have you guys had a conversation with Tapa going forward about the scrums?
We had a conversation after the game in Durban, which was at our last. Was that our last URC game? Yeah, it was. Yeah. Obviously 2 different organizations we had, but to be honest, we've also had our frustrations over these 2 European games. We get 3 penalties against us last week and naught. So that's a separate process that we've got to take up with EPCR. But look, Tapa understands us and our DNA around scrumming. And last year we had the biggest scrum penalty differential, which was 35. We had 57 penalties for us and 22 against, which is brilliant. I think we saw a pretty similar trend in Durban. There were 1 or 2 things that did worry us about Durban, and we've had a chat with Tapa about that. And it's a directive come out around the loose heads angles, but we're such a dominant scrum. Generally, we're a legal scrum. We don't a team that goes for tricks and that sort of stuff. So hopefully, and that's the message we've put in this week. Which want to be rewarded if we're legally dominant. But I must say the relationship with Tapa is good in that respect, and they've got a scrum expert in Stevie Scott. And I mean, by what I saw in London last week, It's not an easy thing to referee, but it's a big thing. Yeah,
But there's blatant stuff.
yeah, there's blatant stuff that drives us mad. Yeah, not just.
Cool.
Perfect. Thanks, you
Right
guys.
one. Well
Cheers,
done,
everyone.
everyone. We got there in the end.